Welcome back to Dark Nexus. Tonight, it's Act 3, Chapter 129. We're picking up on the morning of the 24th of Kuthona, day 44 on the boat. Overcast skies, there's a nip in the air, but not too cold. As we get moving this morning, we are passing yet another tributary as the Enduar River flows north out of Kyonin to join the Glass on its long march to the inner sea. As the Firani forest retreats a little bit from the river on the south bank, giving way to some marshy grassland, we're joining up, you can probably see this on your map, we're joining up with a new forest on the north bank, the Wildwood of the River Kingdom known as Seven Arches. If the elves are fiercely protective of their forest on the one bank, the oak stewards are almost equally protective of their forest on the other, and the shoreline is very marshy there too. With the gray sky and the scattered dead leaves of the forests on both banks of the river, the day is like a theater after the performance, all strewn with crumpled playbills. These are exactly the states of the air, the conditions of sound and stillness, unspeakable impressions that bring back to you just long enough to almost catch it, that feeling of the desolation of Arventon. And what is nearly impossible to get rid of is the cruel idea that whatever you had seen there, those poor ghastly survivors, if you can call them that, had seen more. Things terrible and unguessable that sprang from that place's dreadful past. And I imagine this has to be on everyone's mind this morning to a greater or lesser extent, especially since there is no period, as far as your conscious minds go, there's no period between wishing yourself out of the dreamlands and then waking up. You were literally just there, walking amidst the crypt that Arventon had become. You witnessed firsthand that not only had your former selves changed one of these locations with their previous actions, but in this case, it seems like Tima broke it. I don't know if any of you caught this consciously when it happened, but showing up in Arventon was the first time you did not experience a bifurcated journey there. In every other case, you remember walking down the stairs and either trekking across the desert to reach the oasis, or receiving an invitation and taking a coach to the palace, or traversing the garden lands to reach the Enchanted Wood, and so on. That did not happen that time.
So those have been present every other time.
Every time.
We just kind of don't. We've hand-waved them a little more in the description of showing up.
I usually give you a couple of sentences. In the case of the Captain's Tricorn quest, we played out the other experience. But that didn't happen here, almost like dreams no longer begin in Arventon anymore. You found a way to travel there, but maybe people do not or cannot dream themselves to that dead city anymore. It's early morning. Dabbook's going to be needing to get to work pretty soon, but there's a little bit of time before they have to take their shift. What's on everyone's mind today? I don't know what our plan is for the day.
I don't either. I had a question, though.
Is it a Grip question or a Robert question?
It's a Barnabas question. About something, whether or not you would allow it.
Oh, interesting.
And this might be not even legal based on the level of the spell I'm picturing, which I'm going to rely on someone to help me.
Very intrigued.
with Barnabas's spell kenning ability.
Yeah, remind us what that is.
At 5th level, a Skald is learned in the magic of other spellcasters and can use his own magic to duplicate those classes' spells. Once per day, a Skald can cast any spell on the Bard, Cleric, Sorcerer, Wizard spell list as if it were one of his Skald spells, using a Skald spell slot of the same level.
That's pretty cool.
A minimum casting time of 1 full round, regardless of the time of the spell. So, what I was wondering is if you would allow Barnabas to use that ability. Remind me what spell it is that gives you the weal or woe type of answer.
Augury.
And find out what would happen if we tried to approach the Mad Poet with only 4 gifts.
The problem with the spell is that it's only like a half an hour in advance.
Oh, okay.
Now, divination
What level spell is divination?
That's higher.
I think it might be 4.
Okay, I'm not quite there yet.
I imagine the fates would be like, don't approach the mad poet in any circumstance, you nitwit. Like, what?
Let me see this, because I think it's a more fun way to handle this than maybe necessarily totally proper. But since you're asking about what might happen in a dream, as long as you were to cast it within 30 minutes of them entering the dreamlands, what the fuck, right? Like, why not? Let's say it would function, because you're essentially asking what would happen if their consciousnesses, while they were sleeping, did this thing, and the concept of when things happen in the dreamlands over the 8 hours that you're sleeping is so amorphous as to be useless.
Mm-hmm,
but I would say, like, if you cast it within 30 minutes of the end, if you cast it in the middle of the ritual, so you'd have to cast it in the middle of the ritual, which means you would not be a secondary caster. Which is probably fine. That just kind of takes a couple of points off of Dora's bonus. But
Dora use automatic writing in the dreamlands under the same circumstances?
if Dora did it in the Dreamlands, we would be bound by the rules of time where she's at. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you'd be asking about what would happen in the Dreamlands to my lucid dream body in the next 30 minutes.
But then, so if we did it that way, if we did it that way, that would only apply to that jaunt into the Dreamlands that they are in the process of doing, right? But then there would be no way to give them the answer that he got.
Yes, you could give it to him before they go.
Oh, okay.
Which would mean essentially, so say Barnabas sits out of the ritual, watches them do the ritual, like 15 minutes before the end of the ritual or whatever, casts this spell. Then you could give them the answer of, all right, this is what I've learned from this, at which point Dora could say the command word to go back to the oasis, to go to another dream location. Like, there would be time for Dora to make that decision.
We have the
caravanserai.
The caravanserai.
I was going to say, we have that?
No, I'm sorry. To the caravanserai, which is where you need to go in order to go to the oasis.
Yeah. So I think Barnabas would present that to Dora and the group as a possibility if it is something you would be interested in.
Interesting.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, but we've also talked about if we're actually going to go to the caravanserai and then go from the caravanserai to the Mad Poet, like we would have to stock up. Our waking bodies would have to have everything ready to go.
Information gathering. We wouldn't have to do anything with the information till next time we went.
That's true.
Interesting.
But we also know that things change, and
We
what
could
might
do
be
the ritual
what
just
might be
to
the
learn
case.
this.
Might be wheel this visit and woe the next visit. Is that what
Exactly.
you're saying?
But
Yeah.
you aren't proposing asking about something specific, which shouldn't change. There's always possibility, but he will either accept 4 gifts or not. But will the Yellow King not be with us?
YK would absolutely be with us. He
Then we
knows the
need
way.
another gift either way.
Oh, if one gift per person is your idea at the moment, then
Yes.
you got to have another one. I gotcha. Yeah.
That's a good point. So, that is on the table.
Thank you. I appreciate you thinking so much about this.
I have nothing else to do.
Oh, did you spend? Let me ask you, Robert. Did Barnabas spend last night reading through and working on that yellow journal?
Yes.
Then I will tick off one day on our tracking sheet.
Yay.
Ticket.
What else is on everybody's mind this morning as these characters get up and start beginning their day?
Dora's ruminating on something. It doesn't have any material effect on what we do, but Dora's been a little bit obsessed with the image presented to her of Tima and Reynard moving through Arvington, saying the true name of the city and turning everybody into ceramics.
Yeah.
And she's wondering, pondering if Anathema did that in order to draw the Womps to Arvington to get the foot. Drastic, to be sure.
Interesting.
I wonder if she didn't do that, if rather than delve into the Underdark to find them, she found a way to bring them out. Surely the cost would mean little to her.
Well, you can certainly ask her, right?
No, she won't remember.
All those people
Yes, let's not forget who we're dealing with.
She's ruthless.
Yes.
Well, no. We were ruthless.
Dora kind of gives a little...
Yeah,
Okay.
were they people? What was the cost? What do these people think the cost of that action in the Dreamlands was? Did people suffer? Or did just dreams suffer?
Great question.
How much pain was inflicted?
Certainly, like, the Viscount seems like a real person. I'm sorry, the Viscount. Like, he seems like a real enough person, inhabitant of the Dreamlands, the people we met there. But who knows? We don't know what they are.
The Zoogs seem to
The Zoogs
have
had a-
real consequences for what was happening in their...
Or what we
Plane.
did when
Yeah.
we went there last time.
Right.
Yeah. We damaged an ecosystem. There were consequences. I guess the question is, do we care because it's the Dreamlands?
Right. And are we also trying to piece together, were they inhabitants of the Dreamlands, or were they dreamers that had dreamed themselves
Yes.
there? Like that.
Like, are they suffering from sleeping sickness now because they can't wake up because their body in the Dreamlands was turned to...
Because the place where they were at in the Dreamlands was separated from
Yeah.
the waking world.
Yeah.
or
I mean,
something.
if all these things are being bandied about in front of Grip, he's like towards the end of that
You're gonna yell at
excursion.
Dora.
No, he's not going to yell at Dora.
Get your shit together!
He had. I think
Really awake, really awake, really awake.
Sorry, Robert.
by the end of that excursion, he was just beginning to wrap his head around the fact that these statues might have been people.
Yeah.
Like that was, he was just getting to that point when
Yeah.
we got out. So this added layer is like something he wouldn't have even thought about.
Right.
And it's a little, that's definitely mind blowing to him.
In my mind, of course, what our past selves did to these people had massive consequences. I mean, our dreams have been stripped from us. So our ability to go and touch their lives, other than through this ritual, has been stolen from us.
Right, because Jamandor controls it, right.
And thinking that there are a vast number of different planes that have people, creatures, things that they have their own lives that have nothing to do with us. And for this mad dream of Lowell's, our past selves went there and destroyed these people in their town. So yeah, I think that it absolutely has consequences.
In the case of Arvington, millions of people.
Yeah,
Millions.
A massive city.
It is like
New York
a...
City.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And this is the first time, really, that I feel like we went someplace and didn't try to leave it slightly better than when we got there. It doesn't sit well with me.
I don't know that us staying any longer would have helped anyone. There's hundreds of those fucking things.
I had this idea of if we could get all those statues moved into the mausoleum, then they attack anything that's alive. So they would then attack all the womps and like prevent them from being in the hunting grounds. I don't know how we do it, but then it would at least give them something. I kind of want to go back.
If we could go back with reinforcements, but with just the four of us.
I mean, how do you move a statue that's going to attack you right when you go up to it?
Maybe if we led them, we got them focused on us and chased us in there. Once we got them in there, then they'd start to fight the womps.
I don't know. That's a lot of ifs. A lot of ifs.
I don't know. Like I said, we did that.
Yeah, I'm throwing it on the pile of all the shit I've done. I'm checking off the ledger items I can, and those that I can't, I'm going to keep living until we finish whatever the fuck we're doing. Because right now, we're the only ones that can keep this ship sailing, so to speak.
And certainly the problem will still be there after we've done anything else we wish to do.
Dabs, do you have any kind of magics that will allow you to interact with like that spirit of the city?
Not in any way that can heal this curse. I'm sorry that you have to keep encountering your past like this, my friends.
Sorry, Dora's so unmoved by that argument.
Because it's not your past.
But she knows that it's... She's not going to say that. Doesn't help.
But as we've talked about, there are some kind of 5th level spells that open up for Dabs at 9th level that might allow them to tap into, like there's like commune with nature. There's some commune spells at slightly higher level that might get Dabs a little more, I don't know, at least insider knowledge that
Right.
they
At the
maybe
moment,
not have access to right now. Yeah.
Dabs could speak with plants, but that's about as far as it goes.
And all
There's
the
no
plants
plants.
are ceramic.
It's not a city of herbivores there, really.
Any other discussion amongst the group this morning?
Would anyone be interested in scrying Lowell's again?
Of course.
Sure.
Seeing how far he's gotten?
Always.
Then maybe I could prepare that later today. We can do that tonight.
I'll bring the clippings.
From the books.
Hair, fingernails.
Oh, yeah, those clippings.
We'll bring pieces of his body to the scrying party.
That was like a scrapbook? Newspaper clippings?
Are we for sure jaunting tonight?
No, we had been going on a every other day idea, but perhaps Dabs' scrying will inform us how quickly we need to be moving.
So Dabs does not have that prepared right now today.
No, but
correct?
at dusk.
Right, but if Dabs then casts this scry spell, which takes an hour, that eats into your traveling overnight time, which will interfere with Dabs' ability to work other shift the next day. So if you want to scry tonight, then you're probably taking the night off from dream travel.
And also, we'd be taking away one of Dabs' spells.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So if you want to do that tonight, then maybe we're not jaunting tonight. Look at maybe jaunting tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Great. So we know Dabs will spend the morning working, and we'll do some meditation and scrying in the evening. What is on Gripper's agenda today?
He's just got to work.
Right. What about Dora?
2 8-hour blocks.
You have 2 8-hour blocks available to you today.
I will spend one teaching Gossa to read, and I will spend one, if it's all right with Barnabas, passing the language in the Yellow Journal.
You can do that bit when Barnabas is sleeping, actually, and then spend the afternoon
Great.
with Gossa.
Yeah.
Nice. And what's on Vic's agenda? I went back, Johnny. You actually started making some real-world Mage's Assistant 1,000 years ago before you incepted yourself.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, you've actually remember when you were doing crafting so long ago now. Is he returning to that, or is that not on his agenda today?
I think that he would definitely want to try to get back to being here now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he would think of it as sort of like grinding it out in the same way that he did before. I think that he would be trying to find more lightness and joy in doing it and interacting with the people around him in a more meaningful way.
More engaged way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to be obsessive about it.
Yeah.
Kind of like you were
Yeah.
at the fever pitch.
And if Dora is spending part of this day working with Gossa, and Gossa can't actually take 8 hours off. The idea with Gossa is anytime she's got free time, Dora will hang out. So that actually, the central cabin area may be much more of a hub for
lounge.
socialization
Yeah.
on this particular day, as Dora's kind of there and up on the deck for way more time than she usually spends. And you've got a different attitude today, and everybody is still in that post-terrible first week on the glass, oh, we've all recovered, we've got food, things are looking up, we're getting further south kind of mode. I think the atmosphere on the ship is noticeably lighter.
Vic would also want to get those fighting sticks from Grip and look at what we have in the party loot to see if there's enough magic to magic them up.
The Dan Bongs.
Absolutely.
And how long that would take.
You could make them a +1 weapon today if you wanted to, or you could take 4 days to make them a +2 weapon.
I think he would absolutely make them a +1 weapon today so that they could be used tomorrow.
Yes.
That certainly would, in my mind, be worthwhile for Grip to have a weapon that he would be able to use with his Brawler's Flurry.
Yeah, as long as it's not taking away something that is keeping someone from getting something.
We have distributed everything valuable. We have gotten what we're going to get from our one shopping excursion we're going to have on this entire trip, probably.
And also, like that +2 scimitar, that could be used to basically suck all the magic out of it, and then it could be put into this.
Sure. Yeah. You easily have the time and the money to, today, by the end of the day, with a roll, have these +1.
Cool.
So Vic will spend, and we'll worry about this between weeks here, Vic will leech the magic out of at least 1,000 gold pieces worth of magic items, and at the end of his 8-hour crafting day, give me a spellcraft check there for Vic, Johnny.
That is a 31.
Okay. At the end of the day, by the time we get to dinner time, Robert, your Dan Bongs are +1.
Sweet. Thank you.
And then before dinner time, Dabwick is going to meditate.
I got to do my...
Oh, give me your check.
What am I doing today? What am I working on?
You're still working on navigation. And
navigation.
This is, again, remember, this is a lot about...
Oh, they're going to start to be math, isn't there?
Yes, there are. There is math. There's principles and observations.
Oh, God.
And she's really engaging you with the science of it all.
Okay.
Give me that check.
All right. I'm smiling and nodding a lot today. That is... Oh, what was my fucking thing? 12. A total of 12.
Science! Yeah, you are progressing, and I think let's think about a lot of this stretch being about actually learning the landscape of the stars, learning the landscape of the heavens, how the sun moves across the sky.
I think he likes that.
How to take measurements of the sun's placement relative to your placement on the planet, like all these
now
things.
It's getting complicated.
Yes, all these things that Grip would probably never put any thought to, like, oh yeah, the sun is an object that's a distance from us, and the more we move, we are a different distance from that object, and also the moon, we are a different distance from that object.
What was that middle part again?
Yes, exactly.
But he gets through it.
And then Dabs will head into their meditation period.
Dabwick occasionally takes meditation in the crow's nest when it's all right with the captain, and today is one of those days. They gaze out over the river and allow their mind to drift. They're preparing to scry lulls again tonight. Dabwick is wondering just how close to Casimir is he? Is he there already? And the thought makes Dabwick's skin crawl. Casimir with a lulls in it. Ugh. But no, wait, he can't be that far ahead, not yet. But wherever Lowes is, with or without him, I'll be in Casimir again before long. Back home. Home again. Could it be? After all these months away? The Starlings set sail back in Erastus. By the time their journey ends, it may be as late as Calistrel, getting on to 7 or 8 months since Dabwick said goodbye to their city. How are the renovation efforts in Admiral's Fen coming along, I wonder? The foundation walls had kept sinking into the swamps, and Dabwick had joined themselves up with a survey team preparing the area. By now, the work may be all but done. And the disturbing gathering of stray dogs in Abbey Green? Dabwick didn't have time to deal with that issue. Poor things were probably euthanized in the end. And of course, there were 100 other projects Dabwick had tried to keep their eye on or have a hand in all over the city, and they all had to be left unattended for the better part of a year. Would they all be finished by the time Dabwick got back? Would the city and its systems even need them anymore? They were going back, but can you ever really go back? It's a thought almost too big to consider. Why did I even leave in the first place? But Dabwick remembers. The night Skywind asked Dabwick to join the voyage came during a period of faint but unsettling dreams. visions of something they couldn't quite place, a conglomerate city, intricate and intimate. After all these dreams, Dabwick would try to remember what inspired these images. Why did they carry a faint hint of sadness alongside the inspiring awe they evoked? Skywyn had been so busy at the time. She was preparing to make the Selin Passage, which took exhaustive planning. For the most part, Dabwick only saw her when she made her weary appearance at the end of every day to crash on the pallet always prepared for her in a corner of Dabwick's flat in Greyguard's shadow. After a decade, their two lives had become deeply entwined. Between Dabwick's dedicated life on land and Skywyn's on the water, their arrangement suited them well. Skywyn had never invited Dabwick on a voyage before, however, which made her request all the more unique. It came on a hot star-day night. Being indoors of an evening during Casimir's muggiest, swampiest season wasn't always the pleasantest, but they had a ritual. No matter how busy they got, they always ate together on Star-Day night. Rituals are important, especially to people who love routines as much as they did. Knowing there may not be many or any Star-Days left before Skywyn set sail, Dabwick had laid out a grand spread of dried kelp, cheeses, fish paste, nuts, berries, root mousse, and a gallon jug of Brother Bannon's brown ale. Root mousse, yeah. Even though Skywyn had made the Selin Passage before, to Dabwick, the 2,000-mile round-trip journey always sounded like such a grand adventure, something worth celebrating. But when Skywyn entered their little home, there was a faint shadow hanging over her head. She was trying to ignore it, but still, it was there. This was odd enough, but what was even odder was that she had brought J-Dove with her. J-Dove, a local leather artisan, something of a recluse, despite producing the finest work around, a human woman of middle age who Dabwick knew but was not friendly with. Something made Dabwick keep their distance. Perhaps it was the rumors about her dreams. But she was Skywyn's friend, and if Skywyn wanted her there, then J-Dove was an honored guest. Dabwick cast a simple spell to get the air flowing in their cozy flat as the three sat at the table.
My dear friends, a toast.
To you, Debs, our generous host.
Dabwick took a short bow, they all sipped their beer, and the pause that followed wasn't exactly awkward, but close enough.
So, Debs, I have a proposition for you. How would you like to travel with me for once? You're always such a rapt audience when I tell you of my journeys. Imagine being on the Starling, with me by your side, showing you all there is to see. Think of the adventure.
Skywyn, love, easy. Sudden decisions are not my strong suit, and there's much to attend to here before I entertain joining you on one of your little deliveries.
I'm not talking about a local shipment, Dabwick. I'm speaking of a voyage of 2 or 3 seasons.
The Selin Passage.
That's right.
Hang on. Spend the better part of a year on the river? Oh, that's too long. What am I supposed to do with all my projects and concerns?
What are you afraid of, Dabwick?
Afraid? I'm afraid of what might happen to the city while I'm gone. You know what it's like here day to day. There's a million stories happening in the city.
And for the first time, J-Dove spoke.
But what of your story, young one?
My story is tied to the city.
This city was strong enough to survive before you came along. It may again survive without you for a time, just as you may survive without this city to keep you busy. Besides, there is more to understand than simply Casimir.
What do you know about understanding?
J-Dove closed her eyes. A lifetime's worth of cares and concern passed over her face in a moment.
I understand that sometimes dreams are true.
And Dabwick sees in their mind's eye the conglomerate city.
I understand that we cannot sit still. I understand that pain and uncertainty are sometimes necessary parts of our life's journey. I understand that in order to find something, first it must be lost to us.
Jada, forgive me, but I don't know what you're saying.
The great dreamer visits us in many forms. A resplendent star, a delicate butterfly, a cloud, an impulse, a thought, an idea. She leads me, nightly, through an endless forest on a hunt for what I lost all those years ago. She comes to me as a dove, Dabwick. It's why I took this name. Perhaps she comes to you now in the form of your friend. Please, Dabwick, heed her. All right, J-Dove, that's enough. Don't be spooky. I've got this. Let me lay it out for you, Deb. I've been trying to recruit additional folk to keep ship, and if necessary, lend a hand in a fight. J-Dove has seen something. And she says friends will be necessary on this run. Now, knowing how hard it will be for you to leave home, to be honest, I came to you last. But the truth is, you are now my last hope. Many dangers lie ahead in the coming months, and I would be grateful to have a halfling of your wisdom and power by my side.
J-Dove, her eyes still closed, reached out and took Dabwick's small hand in hers.
You decide the story of your dream, young one. Dreams are neither good nor bad. They are simply magnificent. Tell yourself a tale of adventure, new landscapes, an unforgettable journey. And what is not real will become true.
Dabwick quaffed the rest of their ale and took it all in. A friend in obvious need came asking for help. And just when they were thinking there was more to do in Casimir than could ever get done, now Dabwick imagined a life on the river, telling a new story of Dabwick's great journey. And J-Dove's advice stayed with them. The trip north took months, but it was so exciting. The fear of leaving home turned gradually into a desire to understand more. And just as Skywyn seemed to lose that shadow hanging over her from whatever J-Dove had told her about her dreams, Dabwick's did too. Because Dabwick simply could tell themselves a story about the dreams they'd been having, and the dreams would transform. Just like J-Dove said, they could decide the meaning. So Dabwick decided that what they were seeing in their dreams was important. That the streets and towers overlapping and twisting on each other, swelling and bulging and glowing, were full of balance and understanding. Dreams seem so important when they're happening, and they seem so insistent when you wake. But what is a dream, really?
All those lives lost in Arvington, did any of them really matter? That old city, petrified. All the interharmonious relationships, all the arteries and systems destroyed, and the spirit of the city twisted into something so malevolent. If dreams can be whatever we tell ourselves about them, then what does that make them? Does it actually make them a lie? If the death of Arvington doesn't really matter, if the great conglomerate city is really Carcosa, and hope is nothing but a tenuous thread slipping through their grasp, then Dabwick is back in the crow's nest looking south. They breathe out and mutter to themselves, "Shooey, Dabs. Buck up."
So when Dabwick joins dinner that night, they are in a very different place of a different emotional state, a different state of contemplation than when you last saw them. As we gather around our bowls of soup, and a certain jackass prepares to fulfill his obligation to the crew for nightly entertainment.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, hi.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey. Okay.
There was a great killer who laughed when applying the trade of his craft. The sound made me shudder and call for my mother. It loosened my bowels till I crapped. Thank you, everyone.
What does Grip think of that rhyme scheme?
Shudder and mother is a shite rhyme.
So is Laughing Crab. To be fair.
For some reason, that's the one that's sticking in his craw, though.
Dora finds that one amusing.
So then, as everyone else is finishing their dinner and preparing to get the various cabins set for the night, we're going to gather around Dabwick for the scrying ritual, which we have not done in a hot second.
Yeah.
Neb was the last, right? Or did we scroll Lulz after Neb?
I think you scried Lulz while you were still scrying Neb. But yeah, it's been that long. It's been that long. So just as a reminder, this is an hour-long ritual. And after the last time you did it, when you were trying to ask Skywind about, do you recognize any landmarks? I'm assuming you want to ask Skywind to be present and
Absolutely.
hang out, right? So there's no fog and mist really on the river, so the spell plays out a little differently. Out on the lake, the spell would like part the mists to leave a blank space that would turn into a viewing screen of sorts. So here I'm imagining all of the water around you is continuously in motion, flowing steadily downstream and towards the ocean. So as this ritual is progressing, there is an oval-shaped portion of the window moving alongside the ship at the exact same speed that slowly over the course of an hour is moving less and less. And then by the end, it is this oval-shaped, perfectly unnaturally still and calm section of water as the river is flowing around the place that Dabwick has fashioned.
That's cool.
And you again have that experience of seeing a light down in the depths of the water, in this case the river, rising up to meet your screen, and then I gotta make a will save, don't I?
That's right.
All right. You have secondhand knowledge, but you have body parts and possessions or garments. Okay, here we go. And you're looking down on Hazerton Pragmus Lowles IV. He's sitting once again on the deck of his yacht, his very expensive yacht, the Aurora. He's still sitting at the stern, still in his chair, staring backwards behind him, wrapped up in his furs, head covered in his weird little hat, his eyes hidden by his purple glasses, running his fingers through the mossy carpet of fungus on his neck.
Is it longer than it was the last time we saw him?
He keeps he's got furs up, a high fur collar, hat pulled down. You can tell that it's there, but you can't really see how thick it is. But the way he's luxuriating his fingers through it, there's enough substance there to luxuriate. You know what I mean? Like it's not an inch. It's like a shag carpet probably. And he's basically doing almost exactly what he had been doing 3 weeks ago when you last scried him. And looking at him, you all get this feeling of someone or something almost in like a hibernation mode. There's a lot about this that I think might be upsetting for Vic to see. Because, like, the last time you all did this was before you ever spent that half a year with the Yellow King. You didn't know Lowles, and you'd only just met YK. But now you know him like the back of your hand, right? Like, you know how he moves, you know how he smiles, you know how he laughs and jokes and talks. And this person who looks like your best friend in the entire world is missing everything that makes your best friend in the entire world who he is. He just looks like this pit of
bitterness,
gloom, yeah. And the look on his face is so disturbing. I keep picturing Full Metal Jacket, pile in the latrine right at the end. That just kind of inscrutable, malevolent glare that looks like it contains both nothing and more than you could even process.
A black hole of darkness.
Yeah. And again, with that sense of hibernating, like he's just contentedly, or not contented, he's just discontentedly waiting to get where he's going, staring back at his past. So after we scrolled Lowles last time, Paul, I read the spell more closely. I should have done this before. And I noticed that it technically only gives you 10 feet of vision around your subject, according to the rules as written. So you shouldn't have been able to see the river on the shorelines, but I'm like, come on, that was fun, and you're a druid. So for our game, I'm going to say I'm going to add River Sight to the list of spells that you can use to expand the vision of a scrying sensor, kind of like you can cast certain spells through it. So as long as you're on the same body of water, you can tick off another riverside for the day. You can't use it to see 12 miles around Lowell's, but you can have that full field of vision that we experienced last time, right?
Makes sense.
So
Thank
just
you.
a going forward note, prepare an extra riverside for yourself. So he is not on the glass anymore. He is definitely past Callus Lake and on the mighty Selen proper. The river is even wider, it's faster moving. There are no forests in sight, but there are these broad open fields on the east bank of some sort of like currently fallow cultivated plant life. And so Skywind would see them like, oh, he's right in the vicinity of Dabril in gold. You all see that on your maps there?
Yep.
Yeah, so there's these famous rose fields there. They make perfumes and stuff in that area. So we've definitely, absolutely, I can say for sure, we've definitely gained a couple of days on him since we've left. Maybe closer to 3 now. And as you look at your map, you'll probably be having the experience of, that puts the ship further ahead in distance from us than last time, but not in time. As these rivers are moving faster now, you're going to start covering a lot of ground much more quickly. We are over the halfway point in time of this journey, even though we have not yet reached the halfway point in mile distance. I made a little ship marker for Lulz's location.
Is it just a little hat with glasses?
Is that all visible to you all now?
Yep.
Yep.
As far as we know, he's traveling by himself.
He's on his way to.
He is on a yacht
Right.
that would have to be crewed.
But like as far as we know, he's not with Mun at the moment.
He's going to
or
get Mun.
So we don't know if he had like what kind of force he might have with him if he's got
He's
like
going to
there's
get
that list
Mun
of
and the
mercenaries I know we
mercenaries,
found. I don't know if, but we don't assume he's with them yet, right?
Based on the information you have and who folks in town saw him leaving Iris Hill with, you would probably assume he is either by himself or with a very small retinue. You know that he's going to Mun. He's planning on visiting Mun, and Mun is expecting him. And that team of mercenaries that you saw, if I didn't say this at the time, they would have read like folks who inhabit the inner sea region that maybe were being gathered up, you would guess, to maybe meet him in Casimir, meet him in some other location, but we're definitely not people who lived in the area.
Okay.
Well, I guess if you got that vision. So you would see a crew of people working the vessel, all staying as far away from him as possible. Like a bunch of freaked out hirelings not getting anywhere within the vicinity of this glowering,
Jagoff.
neck-stroking monster. Neck-stroking monster.
Wow. So disturbing.
All right.
Could Dabs look at any of those other people that were within range to get a close image of them to then see, like, sort of be checking out other parts of the ship the next time?
Oh, sure. Yes.
So scrying one of the people working on deck to then next time scry them.
If he's still in the exact same place, you can at least see some other part of the ship.
See some other part, or see other people.
Yes, 100%.
Oh, cool.
So we'll say there's 2 sailors that you can get a very steady, reliable, long-term look at, and you've got them in your mind's eye. You could try to describe them, and they're giving off every aura of just being like sailors he
Regular
hired.
dudes.
Yeah, so your likelihood of success feels pretty high with that type of folk. That's fun, for sure. Then we're sleeping overnight.
Sleeping overnight.
We share our dreams with Jamandor tonight in a way that doesn't last with you until the morning. But of course, that presence is always there. Praise. Praise. We wake up on the 25th of Chthona, mile 500, y'all. 500 miles we have traveled. Are we heading back to the Dreamlands tonight? Is that the plan?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we could enact Barnabas's plan and just go to the caravanserai, perhaps say hello to the Yellow King, but just go long enough to get the information about what the Mad Poet will or might not accept.
He doesn't know.
I don't mean from the Yellow
Oh,
King.
all right.
I mean, if he casts his augury at the right moment, he could get a weal or woe on only bringing 4 gifts to the Mad Poet.
All right.
We could see what information that provides, and if you wanted to check in with your friend, we could also do that.
I'd love to see YK.
I thought you might.
Although, Dora, this is something else that I meant to bring up earlier, but some of my personal effects got left when we went for the tricorn hat. Some of my dream effects got left there.
What, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, remember how all of our dream weapons and magic items got put in a box?
Yes?
Yeah, I had some other effects that got, I think, left there.
So that ritual takes us to the Bloodwind.
It takes us
Near
somewhere
the
near the Bloodwind, and last time we were on this ship.
Do you want to go there to retrieve them?
Yes.
What are we talking about? I mean, if we're going back somewhere we've already been, I think we should at least know the reason why we're doing it.
Well, when I was in the Dreamlands, I wrote about everything that's been going on with us. And when we went on our last quest, they weren't there anymore. They weren't in the handy haversack. Remembering that we sort of got trapped into thinking that it wasn't real, and then that everything had been sort of like taken out of our packs and those magic items and stuff had been put away in the chest, makes me think that probably my writings are there too.
But we don't know that that would take us back to that version of the Sullen Starling, right? If it's not near the Bloodwind, then it would just fucking fail.
Do we know that Dabbs was reading those pieces of paper on the Bloodwind, on the Starling?
So given some context now that Vic had done a whole bunch of personal writing, as Dabwick thinks back to the pieces of paper found scattered all through the book nook at the front of the Dream Starling, they were pieces of paper describing this party's adventures. They could very well have been his dream journal.
Oh.
Which, of course, Dabwick didn't bring up to anybody because
Dabwick didn't know about it.
About it. And
Right.
and all of a sudden, Skywin was dying and
Also,
you were
that
fighting a
was
fear gaunt.
Crazy time, yeah.
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 I think I found your journal when
You
we
did?
were there.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
was-
got it?
Someone had read it and destroyed it.
There's none of it left.
Well, so Dabbs was reading like pages torn in half,
Maybe destroyed is kind of a strong word.
damaged for sure,
Yeah.
like very damaged. But I think when pushed by Vic like that, I think Dabbs would feel like maybe not destroyed, maybe just fucked around with.
There might be something salvageable if that's our.
How would we get back there?
The ritual takes us close to the Bloodwind, not to our.
But it took us close to the Bloodwind on our ship. If the pages are on the dream version of the Sullen Starling,
Yeah.
we simply risk an encounter with the Bloodwind and anyone who may be controlling it now.
Or you don't risk anything and I go on my own and I get it and then come right back. You don't have to risk anything.
What if it transports us to the moon of Lang?
The last time we let you go into the
What could go wrong?
there were consequences.
Yeah, and I believe that there's consequences. There's potential consequences if I don't have these writings. This was a thing that
I will say whatever word you wish.
I don't think he should go by himself. So if
don't
that's what we
either.
need to do, then let's just do it and we'll go to the next place tomorrow.
Thanks,
we don't
brother.
have Barnabas tonight. So, what is the bonus?
We need to do the augury tonight, or should we save that
Well,
for
I
the
think
next time?
doing the augury is is it's the point of transition, right? It's so like it doesn't matter when we do it. Knowing more sooner is better, as far as I'm concerned. Having more information, but it's just going to be like you're going to tell us what the result was, and we're going to go.
We're going to do that regardless.
We're going to do the blood one regardless.
Okay. All right. Very fine.
You'll just lose +1 in this instance, Katie.
I got a bunch of
So I think that'll be a +4
I'm sorry. I
instead
have
of
to
+5.
remove the sickened condition.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, why do all my skills have checks next to them and they're all seem low? So I'm sorry, you said +4?
+4 instead of +5.
So I'm +21 for DC 25 checks. And I got to make 3 out of 5.
We doing it?
Not loving the odds, oddly enough, but okay, yeah, we're doing it.
So, on the evening of the 25th of Kuthona, we gather below decks to enact the ritual. We sit in our circle, this time lacking one of our foxy friends. As we pass the prop staircase around the circle, staring awkwardly into each other's eyes, let's start out with a Knowledge Arcana check.
Natural 20 on the first one.
Very good. Passing
Counts as 2, right?
No. Passing the stairs around, getting heavier and heavier. This is Barnabas's first time watching this from the outside, and it seems to take excruciatingly long. Barnabas is recognizing, Robert, that there is an element of almost meditation and like a Zen state, the people that are doing it reach, that the rest of you who have to listen to it do not reach. What is the casting time in Augury? I'm checking that up.
Well, it's at least a round. If it's less than a round, it's still a full round.
I think Augury takes a while.
Yeah, I think
takes a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Then it would take the full.
And you have to burn some incense. Let's remember to take 25 gold pieces worth of stuff off of your loot sheet. There's a little component cost to this. Give me the next Arcana check for Dora.
25.
Whoa! Okay. Let's switch over to planes.
30.
The ritual progresses through its natural course, and time seems to just slow to an agonizing stillness as Barnabas experiences the sound of Dora's voice uttering these incantations, getting louder and louder and louder and echoing and rebounding off of all the walls down there, starting to shake the deck overhead, and you probably have a very sympathetic sense of what everyone upstairs goes through when you do this. That it's not just the length of time, that it is the entire environment is vibrating. And you cast Augury as the ritual is nearing its end. And Augury can tell you whether a particular action will bring good or bad results for you in the immediate future. Base chance for receiving a meaningful reply is 70% plus 1 per caster level, so 78. This roll is made secretly. Okay. A question may be so straightforward that a successful result is automatic, or be so vague as to have no chance of success. If it succeeds, you will get one of 4 results. Wheel, the action will bring good results. Woe, bad results. Wheel and woe for both, or nothing for actions that don't have especially good or bad results. So, what does Barnabas ask?
Will it be weal or woe if the party presents fewer than all 7 gifts to the mad poet?
If the party right now were to go into the Dreamlands and present the mad poet with fewer than 7 gifts, you get a response of weal and woe, because there's a sense of some of those contingencies could be good, some of those contingencies could be neutral, some of those contingencies could be bad, but there's a broad range of possible futures that are wrapped up in less than 7, and then Dora has to speak a word. Where does she take the party?
Too near the Bloodwind.
Okay. And then you all simultaneously experience the ritual doesn't work. oh well, talk to Barnabas a little bit about, like, maybe we'll rephrase this wheel or wool question tomorrow, or maybe not. Bummer. Go to bed. Have some disturbing dreams overnight. Wake up the next... And then you also experience walking down those stairs, and you are inside the hold of the Sullen Starling, as it is rocking and creaking back and forth on waters that are more violent than a river. Like perhaps you are on an ocean right now, so being vroom, 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 smashed back and forth. The hold again is empty. None of your dream items are in your possession, except the entire book nook right in front of you is filled with this heaping collection of old pages of parchment, some of which have been ripped in half, some of which have been shredded a little bit, but you can see your collection of dream journals there in front of you, Vic.
I grab them and pick them up.
Quickly gather up all of the pages.
Yes.
Do we blip out, or do we pop upstairs to see where we're at?
Let's go.
You climb upstairs onto the deck, and it is midnight, and you are in the harbor of a gargantuan black basalt metropolis. You're
Kathleen?
in a harbor picture like bigger than New York, with buildings made of basalt, lights and fires and electricity flying through the air. The whole harbor is lousy with ships of construction and size you've never seen before, and the ocean is like in the middle of some sort of terrible storm, and you're being rocked back and forth. Nobody's on the ship, but indeed, inside Skywind's cabin, the door of which is open, you do find that golden chest, inside of which are all of your dream items.
Just to be safe. Let's
grab 'em.
Let's grab them.
Grab our hands on them.
Yes.
Wake up.
Yes.
And that's the end of chapter 129. We'll pick up next week.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you letting me get my
Dream
stuff.
quest accomplished in 2 minutes.
Shoot.
Dark Nexus is produced by Plug and Hum Productions. This podcast uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Incorporated, used under Paizo's fan content policy. This podcast is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, please visit paizo.com. That's PAIZO.com. Dark Nexus uses music and soundscapes by Syrinscape. Check them out at Syrinscape.com. That's SYRINSCAPE.com. Opening and closing themes, along with additional music composed by Rob Kauzlaric. Artwork for Dark Nexus is by Matt Wahlquist. And thanks to DMCP, Richard and Ari, Paul and Shannon, Scotty, Jason, Jess, Joe, Chelsea, Matt, Dave, Derek, Darren, Michaela, J.H., the Biscuit Buddies, and everyone we've gamed with over the years for all the memories and inspiration.
You know what we're fighting here? We're fighting a couple 2-tree tigers.
Hey-o.
Is that a reference to something?
No, it's just, it's like the Chicago 3, but it's a couple
Tree.
2-tree tigers.
two
Couple
trees.
2-tree tigers over by there.
Oh, tree tigers.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks for taking the time to explain it to
That's
me.
the sign of a good joke.